Right, we are live. Good afternoon, people of Momentus. How are you on this sunny Tuesday? I'm here with my next guest as part of Men's Health Week, Tom Murphy. Tom is he's a business coach. He is a mentor. He helps people think about their life balance, think about how to get it done with no excuses whatsoever. He says it like it is, and that's what I love about him. We've been collaborating for quite a while now. We finally got to meet face to face recently after months and months and months and months of all this kind of online meeting. And he actually is a real human being, which was nice just to check he is who he says he is on the tin. Tom, good afternoon. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thanks, James. Very, very well. It was lovely to meet the other week, wasn't it?
It was a tad surreal, but it was fantastic. I've got to admit, it's so many people that I think I've met during lockdown and, virtually, and it was nice to actually meet someone for real, and particularly you, because we have had so many conversations over, well, probably the best part of 2 years now. So I think it was absolutely brilliant. The first of many, I am sure. Now, we are here to talk about Men's Health Week, and I'm going to start with a really simple question that I've just been asking kind of a couple of others that I've been talking with this week and previously, and that is, what does health mean to you, Tom?
Yeah, well, you mentioned this, and I've been giving it some thought. And do you know what? The one thing I will say is when health obviously encompasses our mind and our body, which I think is an important factor. And the synergies are there now. It's been proven over the last couple of decades that, I think all practitioners are very much in tune with that. But my take on health is that we have a positive state of health and we have a not so positive state of health, and both in mind and in body. And it is really, really important that we do things that feed both of those, either simultaneously or separately, but on a daily basis. Health to me is ensuring that I do certain things in my life on my day-to-day routines that do my best to keep those two things that are really important on track.
Yeah, that's cool. And the guy I spoke to yesterday, Nick Elston, he said a similar thing. He said it's just these little micro steps that you've just got to factor into your day. For him, it's things like going and get a glass of water every hour, and that means getting up, getting off his bum, going downstairs to get it. So he's getting some steps in, getting some water in, and making it habitual, just doing that kind of thing, just because it's good for the mind, good for the body. What kind of things do you do? What are your kind of daily things that you do to help with your health?
I was fortunate in my early years, like until about 25, that I played sport at a reasonable level. So I naturally just stayed fit and healthy. And then I hit my 30s and it all sort of started going south. and I fell into that term you used, the corporate hamster wheel, and just literally just focused on, I've always been a very motivated person. So I focused on my career in business and growing businesses and so forth. And health, both physical and mental health, came second as second priority. Nowadays, over the years of understanding, we've both been through burnout. I understand that that's not physically possible to maintain a drive and a motivation and basically be the best version of myself if I'm not doing the things on a daily basis. So I've had to teach myself the things, and the basics are starting my day well. When I used to play football, we used to train before school. We used to train before work. We used to train in the evenings as well. And so I naturally had a great start to the day. And then that sort of 5 to 10 year period between playing football and realizing that I needed to do that and force myself to do that. And using the word force is really important there, because it's not the greatest word to use. I use that word myself, but it's quite a powerful word. But I think majority of you need to sort of flip that switch on these daily healthy habits of getting up, exercising, drinking water, sleeping, doing all the things that we know our bodies need. Flipping the switch on it being I suppose, something that we feel we should do versus something we want to do. And once you actually want to do something because you realize the benefits of it, it's so much easier to just build it into your lifestyle.
It is, but the thought I've got is it gets easier, but it's never 100% there, I find, and that you can kind of take it for granted that you're always going to have that. And even just this morning, you know, I'm like you, I like to get up early, see the morning early and do some exercise in the morning. So for me, it's either going for a bit of a jog or going to the gym. And this morning the alarm went off 6 o'clock or just before 6. And I was obviously quite a deep sleep, because normally I've got a good body clock that wakes me up about 14 seconds before the alarm goes off. I was fast asleep, woke up, hit snooze and thought, I don't want to go to the gym. I'm warm, I'm comfortable, and I'll be fine. And obviously then just drifted straight back into sleep. The alarm went off 9-10 minutes later, and I hit snooze again, and then just started having that conversation in my mind of, why am I deciding not to go to the gym? How am I going to excuse this? How am I going to justify not going when I know I enjoy the exercise? I need the exercise. It's good for me physically and mentally. It starts my day well. So why am I going down this route of saying, well, you know, I'll go for a walk later, or I might do rugby training later. And I found the trick was to visualize being at the gym. I thought, what was I going to do if I was there? I'd probably do upper body, shoulders, something like that. So I started visualizing sitting in the gym with some weights and doing it. And I think that process of visualization, plus getting my mind active and dragging it out of sleep into a kind of a state of thinking and processing stuff, was enough then for me to go, right, just do it, just get up, get the shorts on, get the t-shirt on, because at that point there's no point in turning around and going back. But that's, you know, that's after years and years and years of trying to always have this kind of habit every morning. It's never foolproof.
It's never foolproof. No, you're right. I had a similar moment yesterday afternoon. So I had some bad news on Sunday. The house I'm buying fell through, and it's the fourth house I've bought in 2 years that have fallen through. And I sat there, I'd just driven to the beach on Sunday evening. I'd gone for a swim, and I sat there and I was just like, right, I've just got to accept that this has happened. And I dealt with it really well on Sunday evening. And then it was yesterday that it hit me. And I had such a low moment where I was angry, I was bitter, I felt lonely. I had all of these issues going on in my head. And you know what I did? I just went to bed. Now, me as a coach and a mentor, I would probably tell people not to do that. I would probably tell people to, go for a walk, or certainly changing the environment for me is a very important thing. When you have that situation, remove yourself from that environment is usually a big help in helping to change your mindset. But I listened to my body. My body was so stressed, fatigued. I'd gone through so many emotions over the last 24 hours that I thought, I'm just going to let myself rest. And I slept for 3.5 hours. I had a headache. We spoke, didn't we? I had a headache, and I just needed that. And I actually woke up, and I had one of the best evenings last night because I felt clear. And it was almost like allowing my body to just collapse and recover was one of the most important things I can do. And I gave this similar advice to someone the other week. They were saying that they've had this gym membership for ages, and they just haven't been because there's a few reasons why they haven't been, but they're beating themselves up about it on a daily basis. And I said, maybe it's a good idea to cancel your membership.
Yeah.
And let's talk about other things that we can build into your routine that you're going to be more comfortable with on a daily basis. And we will potentially, over a 3 to 6 month period, build up that confidence to be able to go to the gym. But if you're constantly going to have something there that's, it's like you feel you do rather than something you genuinely want to do, it's a negative thought pattern, and you're going to be beating yourself up on a daily basis. So I think sometimes you just got to listen to what's right, put that aside, and just do what you feel is right. Doesn't mean you're not moving forward, does it necessarily? It just means that you're actually managing the situation at the moment and allowing yourself to have more freedom to focus on what's important.
Yeah, and I think there's kind of two things that jump out for me from what you've just said. One is about knowing what you're in control of, and the other is about reframing stuff. And you were in control of how you felt about what happened with your house falling through. And I'm sorry that's happened. So I know you were really excited about this, but you were in control of how you reacted and how you felt about it. And you chose actually to be in a good state of mind, but then, as you said yesterday, then kind of ramped up again. But you then chose to say, right, I'm just going to let my body collapse, and it's no good to me. I'm not going to be any good to anyone else. So I'm in control of how I deal with this. And I think that the example of the gym is really for me is a great example of reframing what you're trying to achieve, not the focus on the how I get there. Because I remember when I was kind of in my corporate career and wanting to exercise regularly, but I beat myself up saying, well, if I have a gym membership, I'm traveling all the time. I might be in Slough, I might be in Leeds, in Glasgow, at home. I can't always be there. It's a waste of money. I'm gonna start kind of like resenting spending the money on a gym I can't go to. So where do I find this thing I can do regularly? And actually, to reframe it to, what I want to do is do some exercise every day. Now, what does that look like? So if I'm in a hotel might have a gym. Great, I use their gym. If they haven't, there'll be somewhere I can go for a run, a jog, a field, around the pavements, whatever. Worst case, I do some stuff in the room, some push-ups, some sit-ups, some lunges, whatever. I could pick the desk chair up and use it as some weights. There's a way of doing something that means I get some exercise, but I just needed to reframe it from the how I do it to what I want to achieve. And I think for me, that's important.
It really is, mate. It really is. And so getting back to the whole, what do we do to stay healthy? When I used to play football, when I was in my early 20s, there was one guy who was one of the most talented, most impactful players on the pitch. But his season would be like that. It'd be up, down, up, down, up, down, because he'd just be intense for 2 or 3 games, and then he'd have a quiet period. And there'd be another lad in the team that was just Mr. Consistent. He never outperformed anyone else, but you could always rely on him. He would always, and he was the sort of guy who would always drink a lot of water. He would always sleep well. He wouldn't drink a lot of alcohol. He wouldn't go out partying much. He wouldn't do this. He wouldn't do that. He had a lifestyle that he felt was suitable to perform at his level of performance at a sustainable rate. And quite often he would win player of the season. Because over the season, he would have the best stats. He would have the most consistent impact. The coaching staff loved him, because like everyone at the club loved him. But yet this other guy was an amazing talent, but he just had these ups and downs. And I think as a coach or a mentor, James, correct me if I'm wrong, that's our job, is to help people maintain a level of, okay, we don't want to stagnate. And if so, everyone's different. Some people want to just have a level playing field. Some people want to be on an increase, but we can help people do that in a sustainable way by understanding we have bad days. Yeah, we all have bad days. We can't on a game, like you said earlier, but it's about having those daily healthy habits, those things that you build into your lifestyle that just become second nature, that help you perform at your optimum level.
Yeah. And is that consistency, isn't it? It's that slow and steady approach. And even if you're trying to, you're increasing something, you're trying to increase your performance, your results, your outcomes, your number of clients you've got, customers, whatever it is, you can still increase that bit by bit, but just doing it gradually, not just trying to get there straight away, because that's where your highs and lows come in. You can have success one day, but then what happens the next day? When they're not there, or you're not getting them, and you're feeling too tired and haven't got the energy to keep at it. It's got to be kind of slow and steady, and just knowing what you're in control of and kind of what you're good at. And I think by doing that, by taking those small steps, you get to know yourself better. You get to know when you perform at your best over the course of a day, a week, a month, who you need around you, what you need around you to be the best in your job, to be the best as a business owner, an entrepreneur, a sports person, whatever it might be. But it's that whole thing of, it's a marathon, not a race. Just take your time. And your analogy reminds me of my dad, not around anymore, but when we used to play golf with him, me and my brother, we were going for the longest drive. We were trying to smack it as far as we could, and up he rocked with, a club or two down, Mr. Steady, couple of practice swings, hits it down the fairway, and we never beat him. Never ever beat him, because as much as we might, nail him on a few of the holes, generally over the course of 18 holes, he just was consistent and bloody smug with it too. But fair play.
That's so good. I love that.
And I can't do anything about that now. He's gone, so I can't. He'll always be the winner. In terms of, you mentioned burnout, and it's something we've both gone through, and we've shared our stories with each other of kind of what happened and how we've learned from that. What for you was one of the biggest takeouts from when that happened to you that you think has influenced the Tom post burnout?
My ego gets away with me. That's a big learning factor for me. And I kind of wore my ego like a badge of honor for a large part of my life. And nowadays, interestingly enough, I don't suppress it, but I understand it. I have a better relationship with my ego. I'm the type of person who loves my ego to be stroked. I love the compliments. I love the attention. You know, that there was a discovery period of understanding myself with that and kind of beating myself up about it. But actually, you know, one of my coaches said years ago, you know, tuck your shirt in and brush your hair because you look good, you feel good, you play good. And that's always stayed with me. And I think sometimes in my life I've sort of had the wrong sort of take on that you just got to look good. And if you don't look good, then you're not good, you know, and that's not the case at all. It's all about what's up in here and what gives you that confidence to actually perform and to be a good person for the right reasons. And so my ego was a big problem because I was doing things for the wrong reasons. And I think once I'm now understanding of that, I know what levels of success and what levels of performance are okay for me. So with my coaching business, I only want to coach, you know, a period of time for the week. I don't want to be, I think 5 years ago, if I had to become a coach 5 years ago, I would have been doing it 5 days a week and I would have literally killed myself. But now I understand that it's really important that I'm on my game for my clients, but equally I'm on my game for myself, you know, like I'm going to enjoy life. I've got to really, you know, when I'm not coaching, have the energy to do the stuff I want to do as well. So ego for me is a big thing, and our why are we doing things? I was doing things for the wrong reasons. So not sure, it's probably not what you're asking for, but you know, that is a big thing for me nowadays. And when I help people find life balance, I really help them try and work out what their purpose is. Because purposes can change. It doesn't have to be a huge purpose, does it? It can be a very basic thing that's driving us, that's really important to our values.
Yeah. I was actually on a podcast yesterday with someone, and the topic was purpose and values, and exactly that. It's, you know, the purpose doesn't have to be all encompassing, massive. But it's just got to be you. It's got to be the center of you. It's got to be what drives you and motivates you, and is, you know, your heart is fully behind it, and the values that go with it. You know, how you demonstrate your purpose, how you interact with the world, and what those behaviors look like. What I love about your strapline, Tom, is about get it done, no excuses. Which to me, you know, I know you and that feels very you, but kind of explain it to people who are watching this now or watching it on replay. You know, what does that mean? If I hadn't met you and this was the first conversation and I've seen get it done, no excuses, what does that mean?
So I hear an example. People often say to me, being in the UK with an Aussie accent, they say, "Oh my God, why are you here? Like, if I was you, I wouldn't be here. I'd be in Australia." And I say, "Well, go then. Just bugger off then." Like, firstly, how bad is that to tell yourself that you don't want to be where you live? And I probably don't think that's true, by the way. I think that's just probably small talk. But I think with some people it is true. You know, we always wish for something we can't have, or we don't have. And can't's an important word, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, can't is a very, very important word because it holds us back. So I say to people, well, you can set up your own business. You can. There's nothing stopping you. I remember when I first started Life According to Murph on my Instagram page, and I remember this woman, I put a video on basically on this, like, just get it done. Why are you making excuses? You know, if you genuinely want to do something, you can do it. And she messaged me and said, "I'd love to be able to run, but I can't." And I said, "Well, why?" And she said, "Well, because I've got a toddler." And I said, "Well, can you get a pushchair?" And she said, "I can't afford it." And I said, "Well, can you start saving for one?" "No, I can't." "Okay, well, can you do another form of exercise in your apartment when your baby's sleeping?" You know, no. There's all these I can't. Now, this person apparently had been on the streets with no home and no money and no job, living on the streets 18 months prior. Yet when I was talking to her, she'd bought a house for her and her son. She'd got a job. She was a highly motivated person for things she truly wanted to do. So that tells me if she truly wanted to run, she could run.
Yeah.
She would make it happen. And I think that's the important thing with the get it done concept, is don't tell yourself something's really important if you're not willing to sacrifice and commit to doing it. If you're not willing to make the right sacrifice and committing to doing it, then stop saying you want to do it. Stop saying you wish you could. I love having dreams, but don't be a dreamer, because that's a pretty negative way to live life. Have big dreams, but okay, let's make it happen. Let's work out how long it's going to take and what it looks like when we get there.
And it's interesting because I think about the approach I take with similar clients, people who are wanting to maybe start a new business, and but they're stuck. There's an element of they don't know what they don't know, but there is that whole mindset, the barriers that are in place. I can't do this, because I see other people and I follow them on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever, and because they've already gone through a long journey, they've gone through years and years and failed businesses and taken risks and so on. But I take that approach where it's almost a bit like devil's advocate, and I just say, so what if? And what if you try that? And what's the worst that could happen? To put them in that mindset of, yeah, you're right, actually. Like, what if it did go wrong? What would the worst case be? To give them that comfort that they can then just get it done. Stop talking about it. Do it. Let's see some action.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the best things someone ever said to me was, whilst you're thinking about doing it, someone's doing
it. Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
just get it done. And I do believe in that. The best way to start is to just get started. I believe all that, but I also believe that can be, learn and burn mentality to an extent. So we've got to be careful with that. I think, getting back to the healthy habits, it's the same in business. It's the same in every aspect of life. The important thing for me about sustainable living and sustainable performance is preparation. So like you said, what is the worst case scenario if I was to try and achieve this? Can I handle that worst case scenario? If I'm going to lose my house, okay, might not be such a good, or maybe we can build in some insurances or some things in the way to help avoid that, but at least understanding what that worst case scenario, I'm exactly the same, mate. It is so important. And some people think that's a negative mindset, but it's not. I call it a realistic, it's positive realism. Blind optimists come a cropper, because they will always say, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. But if you're not prepared for the things that may go wrong, then it's like in business. There's a reason we have business plans,
Yeah, totally. And it is. And that's why I love that what if question. And I just kind of referenced in that podcast that I was on yesterday, we talked around that the question of why, we as adults, as children, when we're young children, we're always asking why. We're saying to our parents, why? And they're like, oh, because the grass is green. Why is it green? Because it is that color. Why is it that color? And we just why? And they're actually giving us a gift. They're saying to us why is so important. And I think the question what if is so important. So what if it went wrong? What if you didn't get the number of customers you wanted? What if your business didn't quite make the money you wanted? What if it just, for whatever reason, something didn't quite go right? What have you got that backup? Have you got everything in place that means you're going to be fine? How long are you going to give yourself to launch a new business? If you've got 6 months worth of money in the bank to pay the bills whilst nothing else is coming in, you've got the best part of 6 months to give it everything you possibly can. That's cool. But you're right, it's better than just going, yeah, be fine, and that blind optimism, and not having your foundation set and being ready for it.
Absolutely.
Because those kind of failures, they can be big, and they're the kind of things that can impact our health. When we're being a bit blind to stuff, and suddenly stuff doesn't quite go to plan, or even goes wrong. We're not sleeping at night. We're sacrificing those daily habits of eating properly, drinking properly, going to the gym, going for a walk, socializing with people, just connecting with people. That can become a bit of a slippery slope.
It really can. We get so many, the lovely thing about, I suppose, social media and awareness nowadays is that we have so many things that are accessible to us at the click of a button. But equally, when you were telling me about what that guy said yesterday about getting a drink of water every hour. Now, I always have this with me. I always have my bottle of water, and I don't fill it up until it's empty. And that way I know, by midday I've had 2 or 3 of them. And then, you know, if I have another couple throughout the day, fantastic. If I can have 2 or 3 liters of water a day, depending on the level of exercise I do. I mean, yesterday, I reckon I sweated 5 liters when I was doing a HIIT workout in the morning. But, you know, that's my method. And hearing the other chap's method, you know, straight away I think, oh, that sounds good. But actually, oh, hang on a minute, Murphy, you're already achieving what he's trying to achieve with that. I'm already getting my steps in through my method. I'm already drinking enough water through my method. So we can be distracted by so many different methods of achieving the same result nowadays. And distraction is one of the biggest problems I find working with people nowadays, is that we procrastinate, we get distracted, we lose our way, we lose our path. You know, we forget our purpose, we forget, you know, how many people do you meet that have set up a business or started a career and they're not happy, and you say to them, well, can you remember the reason why you started? And they sit there and go, oh, actually, yeah, good point. You know, and we just lose our way. But it's important. Find what works well for you, and don't worry about what other people are doing. You know, stay in your lane, do what works well for you. As long as the result is what you're achieving, that's fine.
Yep. And that is, I love that analogy, that stay in your lane, stay in your swim lane, because it's yours, own it, make it yours. Let other people be in their one. They might be going faster, but that's fine. They might not go as far. That consistency thing again.
Yeah. I like the analogy too. It's a rope. You can still go under or over it if you want to just have a look.
That's true. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Just check how they're doing. Yeah, fine. No, I like my swim lane.
See how the other people are going. Yeah, no worries.
Just looking at this weird bloke going up a swim and then just
sorry, mate. Sorry.
Not sure where we're going with this one. Let's kind of bring things to a close. What kind of advice would you give if suddenly you are face to face with the 18-year-old Tom, fresh faced, ready to conquer the world ahead of him? What advice would you give him?
Be patient. Be patient. I want everything now. I still do. Be patient and love yourself more, because I still have my moments where, you know, I don't really like who I am, but there's been large parts of my life where I did things that I felt would improve my image, that other people, the value that other people put on me, rather than focusing on what's important to me. So once again, staying in your lane, you know, that applies. So just do what's important to you, run your own race, and be patient.
Perfect. Thank you, Tom. I'm sure young Tom is loving that advice, and anyone watching this now is, I think whether you're 18, 28, 38, 48, it's still really good advice, just to be patient, be consistent, small steps, small little actions, daily actions that move you forward, that keep you healthy, whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally. Sound advice. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for joining me this afternoon as part of this live.
Thank you for inviting me.
A pleasure. For anyone watching it on replay, you've got any questions from myself or Tom, then please do fire them in. I should put the contact details for Tom along with the replay of this video. And Tom, thank you very much, and have a great rest of the afternoon.